So good afternoon, everybody. We're here for Workforce Wednesday Career Ladders. And today we have our presenter, Christina Mason from Workforce Solutions of Tarrant County Board. And she is the AEL Career Pathways Coordinator. I'm going to go ahead and transfer the presenter rights to Christina and allow her to introduce herself and tell you a little bit more about herself and her role at Tarrant County and begin our presentation. So thank you all. Tina, are you still muted?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, great. Thank you. My name is Christina Mason. I'm with Workforce Solutions for Tarrant County Board Office. We have an AEL unit here at our office, and I'm one of the members. A little bit about our consortium. We have 5 service providers, and we cover a large territory here in Tarrant County. One of the roles that I have is the Career Pathways Coordinator. So programs that are needing oversight and implementation are like your IETs, your workplace literacy, your ESL for professionals, transitions, as well as your L-Civics and traditional classes. So I help in those areas and oversight. And then also a little bit of background information about where I come from. I've been with the workforce for going on 12 years now. Prior, I worked for Health and Human Services, the state office, with food stamps, TANF, and Medicaid as a caseworker. I started with Workforce Solutions 12 years ago as a career counselor working in the workforce centers, and then later I started working with employers and their business services, and then on special grant projects, ranging from working with ex-offenders and working with industry-recognized credentials. So that's a little bit about me. I want to go ahead into the presentation. So this question, what is a career ladder? For everyone, if you can please put your answers in the chat pod, we can start this discussion. So what is a career ladder? What does that mean to you? Don't be shy. You put the answers in the chat pod. What is a career ladder? Thank you. Thank you, Hoper. Yes, awesome. Thank you, Krista. Moving up in a career one step at a time. A plan with stackable credentials. Thank you. Those are great. Yes, I definitely agree, Ms. Hooper, to find a career and to move up in the career. So with ladders and pathways, here are the differences in what they mean. So career paths and career ladders are 2 traditional methods by which an employee can develop and progress within an organization. So with a career ladder, as we visualize this, it means that the progression of jobs in an organization's specific occupational fields. Now this is ranked from highest to lowest, and this is all related to responsibility and pay. So when we think of career ladders, picture in your mind an organizational chart at a company, and it has all the different positions, and as you can see who they are, what areas they're responsible, and who they report to. So this gives you an idea as to visually what a career ladder looks like. Career paths encompass varied forms of career progression, including traditional vertical career ladders, dual career ladders, horizontal career lattices, and career progression outside the organization. So this means this is a larger picture. So you can start in a career pathway and have you can have a dual ladder, or you can have the vertical. So it goes in multiple directions. And it can also mean outside of the company that you're working for. So going back to where Ms. Hooper said, to find a career and to move up in the career, and also what Krista said, one step at a time, that applies to both career ladders and career paths. So this is a little bit of history to put some perspective as to where we've come from. In the 20th century, post-World War II, society worked for one employer until retirement. And this was all based on tradition, socioeconomic status, family, and gender. So progression up the career ladder, we're totally dependent on those areas, on those factors. So when we think about how that has shifted, starting in the late 20th century, back in the 70s, this is when we started seeing massive layoffs, an economic boom and bust cycle starting to occur. And then industry started to shift from a labor-intensive to knowledge-based economy as we had progressed towards the end of the 20th century. And what all these other things that were happening during this period was that you had outsourcing of jobs becoming more of a regular practice. You had the decline of unions, pension plans, and then employees beginning to shift from loyalty to one company to starting to invest in themselves in order to stay employed, not just with that company, but with any company. So they started to looking into their skills, their abilities, their education, and different industries to transfer to. So this was all happening during the late 20th century. And especially we started seeing it in the 90s. Career ladders and career paths are still vital. And these are some of the changes that are impacting career ladders. Now remember, we said career ladders is within the organization that you see. So outsourcing is still impacting career ladders. And this is because jobs are broken down by elements or tasks. So it makes it easier for companies to outsource those tasks abroad. Jobs are continuously changing. So think about what the IT industry has been like over the last 10, 15 years and how those jobs are very hard to navigate what their career path looks like exactly because it's knowledge-based more. Workers want more work-life balance and flexibility in the type of work environment. So it could be virtual that they're looking at, telecommuting. Their workers are not interested in commuting long hours a day or a week in order to get to work. They're wanting companies to be closer to where they live, or they're willing to move closer to those companies. And they're also looking for transportation to be easier accessible to wherever they need to go, regardless of where they live. And also childcare is one of the things, too, that you see a lot of the needs of workers change from what it used to be like back in the 20th century, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. So this question pops up is, with all of these challenges and the changing needs of workers and also the changing of outsourcing as a continued practice, people would always ask, why do we still need career ladders and paths? What do you think? Do you think we still need career ladders and paths despite these challenges? You can put your answers in the chat pod. Thank you, Kelly. Choosing a career and step forward, that's a great answer, too. Thank you. And Kay, it's a roadmap. I love roadmaps. I always get lost. So when we look at the need of having career ladders and paths, we have to look at who they are affecting. They affect businesses, employees, job seekers, and educational institutions. So when we're taking a closer look as to what those needs are, for businesses, it's the ability to find, recruit, and hire the right people for the right job. It also is part of their succession planning and creating diversity at the top, which is your management and executive levels, to actively engage with a multi-generational workforce. Remember, we still have at least 4 generations working side by side in pretty much all industries. And to improve employee engagement by providing more opportunities for advancement. This is to retain workers. These are the same needs. They exist as challenges, too. So businesses still find it difficult in all of these areas. It doesn't matter what industry it is. For employees, career ladders are needed so they can stay engaged in their jobs and align their career goals with the organization they work for. They also need to understand what skills and experience is needed to advance in the company. A career ladder provides them that information. It also helps them to understand how to advance, what positions there are, and the level of responsibilities and pay. This is really important at the very end here, where it says for employees, they need to be considered a critical worker at their organization. A critical worker is someone who has provided critical input, feedback, information, and skills that are needed, and it's very hard to replace them in the labor market. So this is why being a critical worker is important to identify as, not just someone who is easily replaceable, because if their knowledge and their skills and abilities, especially their experience, is unique to that position and unique to that organization, they are very valuable. And it is also very difficult to find someone else. So that business must be able to engage and to continue to keep them so they don't lose productivity. For job seekers, this is to help them know where to begin and how to progress to the next position level. It helps them to identify and utilize their transferable skills from previous positions to a new one. And I'm sorry, this one says to understand the. This is to understand the organization itself. So understanding what types of positions there are throughout the entire organization helps them to understand what's available. And is this typical for that industry as a whole, not just for that organization? And for educational institutions, they must effectively teach occupationally relevant materials. They must teach in-demand skills, and these in-demand skills are technical, industry-specific, and academic, and they must be a valued member of the local and national economy. As an educational institution, whether it's a college, university, a career technical school, they have to show that their value is reciprocated in the economy. Employers are supporting their programs, their education programs, as to provide them skilled workers. So for educational institutions, they need to know what these career ladders are like and career pathways are like in an industry or at an organization to better align their programs to those needs. And this is also to meet the needs and demands of the 21st century student. Students are coming in to these programs asking very straightforward questions. What's the chances of me getting employment with this credential? By completing your course, I need to know what is the average rate of pay. I need to know what employers do you work with that can help me? Do you have paid internships? Students are asking these questions because of what they have seen over the years and what their families have experienced over the last decades. So these massive layoffs that we've all encountered throughout our lifetimes, this is the product. Students are asking very specific questions to the future of that job and how that education program is going to support that. If it doesn't support it, students are more willing to walk away. And also, this is really important too, is that education programs, they need to be aligned to industry needs and demands. There's so much change happening within our industries, mainly because of technology. Technology is driving everything. Healthcare, automotive, manufacturing, logistics, transportation, you name it, is the main force behind all innovation. And so education programs across the country are trying their best to compete, trying to get that information as quickly as possible and to see how their programs are aligned. Does their curriculum meet those needs? Does the certifications still meet the needs? The degree programs, do they still meet the needs? And so they're constantly trying to keep up with those changes as we are. Are there any questions so far?
I noticed that Erica Pena has her hand raised. Erica, if you have a question, you're more than welcome to type it in the chat pod. Thank you. There were a couple of other comments that did come through. It says, even though changes may come along the way, a plan will keep you focused in the present, and that's about the career ladders or the career pathways.
I agree.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say that is very true. It does keep you focused. It's goal-driven. It's also objective driven. So if you think about it, when a worker has certain needs, and most of it is the belief that they are working for an organization that invests in them, that provides career development opportunities, then they feel more aligned to their own personal goals, that they are really working for a company that they love, that shares the same passion to help others, to help themselves, help their workers. So they feel more loyal and feel more, they'll give their more energy, their talent, their abilities to the company, especially when those things are aligned. And they need to see that in a career ladder, in a career path. They must see that.
There was another comment from Kelly. She said, I've been through 4 layoffs myself. I ask specific questions at every interview because of them.
Definitely. Those layoffs are very, that experience. And it's not just just going through a layoff. It's also the fear of being laid off, especially like when a grant ends and you're not sure that you're going to have a job within the next 3 months, 6 months, and you have a family to support. There's also that constant fear of knowing that a layoff is coming. And so our culture has changed from knowing that we're working for a company and it's going to, be there. Companies don't stay there as much anymore as they did. I mean, they haven't for a while now. So the type of workers, mindset has changed. Loyalty has changed. It's more loyalty towards yourself and towards your family than it is towards your company that you work for because of these massive layoffs that have happened. And it doesn't have to happen at a big company, small companies too. So it makes sense to hear someone like Kelly having experienced 4 layoffs. Very, very common. And then also, I see here too that by having a plan, I really enjoyed this one by Kay Brooks. Even though changes may come along the way, a plan will keep you focused in the present. That is very powerful. Thank you so much, Kay. That's very true. By having a plan and sticking to it, regardless of what happens, you feel more confident in your abilities to handle things, handle situations, unexpected situations. And that is the best advice and also the best practice that we can give to our students in our programs. We have to continue with the planning part, planning and organizing of information of how we're going to move forward to our next steps. So thank you so much, Kay. And so with students going into this, that's a great segue, students need to access career exploration sites to begin to compile research on education. So that means like their degrees, certificates, certifications, and licenses, the needs and occupational information. And I say KSA, and that stands for knowledge, skills, and abilities, the work environment, pay, and advancement. So when we're doing career exploration, we're also doing education exploration. They're together. They're not separate. And students, when they're starting to compile this research, we're actually helping to answer to the content standards to help students practice information-seeking skills and research. So they're able to exercise those skills and be able to repeat that practice again and again and again all throughout their lifetime, especially as they see themselves as a lifelong learner, continuing to improve on their skills and education for the workforce. And with this research, students are able to construct a career ladder or a career pathway showing the progression in a position and the requirements. They're able to articulate what are those needs are, what's the name of the position, what's the pay range going to be like, what's the location of jobs, where are they mostly located. They'll be able to actually articulate some of these hard questions, and you could see with their answers that a good career exploration process was done. They had completed the whole thing. And here are some career and education exploration websites, I highly recommend the Occupational Outlook Handbook from BLS, or the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I use this website a lot, and they also have great publications and stories, and they have a great publication about data. So if you're looking for numbers, they have a great section on that. And they also have topics and subjects that you can search through for your own interest. And they have a section on industries too. But for occupations, this is the best one, Occupational Outlook Handbook. And then ONET. I use ONET quite extensively. There's the interest profiler, which is called My Next Move. This is a great career assessment site. It has nothing to do with a person's actual ability to do those kinds of activities, like build a cabinet. You know, they are not asking if you know how to. They're just asking, are you interested in it? It's more like a gut reaction. And so they, with the results, they match up all the occupations. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of occupations in ONET, and they match that person to those interests. And the student can start looking at those matches and see if any of them come close to what they really can see themselves doing, and they can go deeper into the education requirements and the experience and get more information about the work styles. Then finally here, as another one, a lot of folks are always interested in the values of what, if their values matches to the type of work that's being conducted. So this one is from Stuart Cooper, and so this is a great one. It's a motivated skills test and career values test. Easy to take, very simple, quick. And then there's also America's Career Info Net. This is also giving you more information similar to what ONET has, and it has information also related to wages, level of education, is this occupation fastest growing and most in demand. There are career videos included. And then once a student has gone through either one of those career exploration websites or multiple ones, then they can start organizing and planning the research that they've compiled. And this is a worksheet, actually, that I've given to our career pathway navigators and also to work with the students. And this is a worksheet that is actually broken up into 5 steps, because when a student feels overwhelmed by something very large to break down, a big goal like going to college, it's too much for them to handle. So if you give them something that helps them break down their short-term and long-term goals, it makes it a lot easier for them to feel comfortable and feel like this is achievable. So the information, the labor market information, the information on career assessments and things like that, I've broken it up here, as you can see from the sheet. And I can upload my sheet onto the PD portal, the Community of Practice, so anyone can use it. And it's a career pathway progression plan is what it's called. So here, as you can see, you have it starts off with the categories on your far left, and the steps are broken out towards your right. So you have current level of education, and then you have possible current jobs, current potential income, next credential to acquire, potential income with next credential, possible training provider, lengths of time to acquire their credential, cost of training, and possible sources of tuition payment. And so these top section about the current education level, this is asking the student, what is your level right now? And this is also asking at every step along the career path. When you're looking for possible current job openings and current potential income, you can get this information from labor market information from TWC, the LMCI. You can also get it from your workforce. You can also get this information from job posting boards and ONET. When you move into the second one, the third category there, where it says next credential to acquire, you're looking at your career assessment results. So another career assessment is Texas Reality Check. This is a great one. I really like this one a lot. And I believe Dr. Olga she's covered this in a previous Tech Intel. So if you have time, please check it out. And also an ONET, the Career Assessment, My Next Move. And then down below, when you start talking about length of time to acquire the credential and also cost, there's another great resource from Texas Career Check, which is another TWC resource. It's a great website. And you can get that information there, and you can also get it from the workforce. But also getting that information, students can look through the college or career technical schools catalog, go onto their website, look at the cost and how much it's going to complete that training program. And I decided to show what a completed one looks like. So this is for a registered dental assistant. This is a very popular in-demand occupation that you commonly see in a lot of counties' targeted occupations list. So this is starting off with a student without a high school equivalency. So that's their current education level. They don't have a high school equivalency level, so their possible current job openings are fast food, housekeeping, possibly a caregiver, potential income, about $7.25 per hour. So the next credential that they need to get is their high school equivalency. Their potential income, even with a high school equivalency, may be minimum wage, maybe a little bit more, not much. So their possible training provider, well, they come to us, Adult Education and Literacy. We are providing them the tools they need in order to get their high school equivalency. Length of time, depending on their level. What level did they enter into the program? And then cost of it, we don't charge them a dime, of course. And then possible sources, I put here self-pay, which they don't pay anything, but WIOA, self-pay is actually, is related to the actual exam, the HSC exam. So they would have to pay for the exam. If they are co-enrolled in a workforce program, they can pay the cost for the exam. Then, of course, it moves on to the second step. Well, now that the student has their high school equivalency, what's next? And that follows the same categories and goes through the same process. And as you can see, it starts getting more interesting when you start looking at the potential income. It starts there, current potential income. You start seeing the changes, the next credential to acquire. And this is the line where you see those stackable credentials. For a registered dental assistant, they have nitrous oxide, coronal polishing, and pit and fissure sealant. Those are their stackables. And so when they're finding a training provider, I've chosen our community college here, Tarrant County College, and this is the information that they have. In their education program, they provide in the training program, it's both a registered dental assistant and nitrous oxide. So students acquire two of them. So this is really good information. This is when things starts to change. And as you can see on step 3 all the way to step 5, you see how things change. Those stackable credentials start to look, and you start seeing a change in pay. And you also start to see a change in cost of training, because down below, in order to continue to do your stackables, you're looking at paying for those stackables, but also continuing education units later down the road to maintain their credentials. So how does everyone think about, what are your thoughts about this plan, this organized, career pathway plan? Oh, thank you, Tracy. This is a great visual tool. Thank you. Thank you, Kay. Thank you. And it is a lot of information, Ms. Hooper, yes, so I do apologize. For the tool, thank you, Elena. She asked the question, what is the best way to educate the programs on using this tool? Start with your career pathway navigators. It helps with the planning of goals, your short-term and long-term goals. It can be it'll be coinciding with your ITech plan. And also with your teachers. The Career Pathway Navigator works with the teachers in the classrooms to make sure career exploration activities are being done. So that way students, when they're compiling their research that they've looked up and they're all excited about, this is a place where they're going to be putting that information. So teachers need to be working alongside with the Career Pathway Navigator. Thank you, Kay. She says a great outline gives students something to take with them to give time for thoughtful consideration. Yes. The purpose, the idea is that for this, because it's all steps 1 through 5, and believe me, you can make up more steps if you want, but it does give students the ability to go back and reflect and for them to really see how things have changed, and also to update, because things may have happened to where they decided, you know what, I want to change into a different field. Well, now they still have the same plan. They have the same questions. They just go over the same process. Thank you, Anna.
I like that you said that, Anna, about making it more real. Because once a student writes something down, it's out there and it's in their brain, and they keep on going back to that goal. So I really like that comment. Thank you.
And to also go back to how to implement this into the field, this type of tool, I've also have it in our SOP, our standard operating procedures. This is what it looks like by the time visually, after an exercise that our students can do is they can create a hierarchical chart. So this is for dental assistant, an example of what it looks like, and we have this here with our board. And there's additional ones for all of the targeted occupations. We've created charts like this, and I've got a couple more examples to show the complexity. And you can see here how a career path works. You see how a dental assistant can either become a dental product salesperson, or they can become a dental office manager, or they can go on and become a dental hygienist, which would require more education, be a 2-year degree, and it has to be a recognized education program. Then further along as a dental hygienist, they can either become a public health dental hygienist administrator, or they can become a dental hygienist instructor. Now, for a dental hygienist to want to become a dentist, of course, they'd have to go through additional education. But this gives you a picture for the student to be able to see what are their opportunities like. And from their research and from what they've read and how they've articulated it back and discussed it in class, creating a visual chart should not be very difficult for them, because they have the information, they have the knowledge, and by writing it down, they can see their own path, like you were saying earlier. And then here's an example for application software developer. So this is where it gets really interesting, because you can see for someone who's an application software developer, going back to the comment I made earlier in the IT, it's such a knowledge-based industry, and it's also a very certification. It's very specific to software and hardware knowledge. So this is why you see all these different crossing over into different types of positions. So a software developer can become a database administrator, or they can become a network systems and data communications analyst, or a computer programmer. And those occupations, those positions, gets even more crossing over into the network systems administrator or computer security specialist, and going even further up into management. And I would say this, going back to how technology is changing our jobs, changing the way that we advance in them, always keep that in mind, and also that it's not just one industry, it's all industries. So we're going to see more changes happening, new jobs being created faster than what ONET can put out there for us, faster than what the Bureau of Labor Statistics can. So we have to stay as current as possible with the information that we have available, and to stay connected to employers and industries and what their insights are. because they are the boots on the ground. They are the ones that's going to tell us what's happening out there, what's impacting their company. And so here's some additional information sources. I had found this. This is from TWC. It's a career development curriculum. It's a PDF. They created this back in 2013 and then published it in 2014. So it's a few years older, so keep that in mind. But it's a very extensive curriculum guide. It has a lot of information in there. And then also the Society of Human Resource Management. This article is called As Economy Recovers, Career Paths Aid Retention. And these are really great. I love the Society of Human Resource Management, SHRM, because our HR managers, majority of them are a member of this group, this organization, and they get their credentials from them as well. That's an industry-recognized credential, by the way. And they have fantastic articles because they are also, again, they're the boots on the ground in hiring people. So they have great articles to share. So I'm going to show you what these two websites look like. And let me see, here we go. So I was going through it, the curriculum guide, and let me go ahead and zoom in for you. It lets me, here we go. So it's a curriculum development, career development curriculum, and you see here labor market and career information, TWC 2014. And it has the whole outline here, and it's quite extensive. It's 384 pages, so it's pretty long. But it does cover a lot of information, and there's some things that you can customize to your program, customize to your needs. They also have different grade levels, as you can see here, and the types of materials that they want for teachers to use, because they have here instructors' information. And this article that I had mentioned from the SHRM, the Society of Human Resource Management, is right here. As Economy Recovers, Career Paths Aid Retention. They've been talking about retention, employee engagement, talent shortage and skills, upgrading for especially these last few years. And so they have great articles that you can take a look at, and research papers also. They got a lot of research papers out there that can help aid us and support our findings and support what we're wanting to give to our students. So are there any questions so far?
I just wanted to say that I've placed all those links in the chat pod for now, but this will be provided in the Career Pathways Community of Practice in time, but the links are in the chat pod.
Well, we're wrapping up right now, actually, so if there are any additional comments, thoughts, suggestions, anything to share, please feel free to share it in the chat pod.
Christina, did you want to go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website and show them how they could get the information to place in that sheet, in the spreadsheet, the plan?
Most definitely. Okay, here is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, their Occupational Outlook Handbook. And as you can see, they have occupation groups here to your far left. So it's all categorized. So it's very, this is fantastic. So they even have at the very bottom, highest paying, fastest growing. And they have always a featured occupation pretty much every day or every other day here in the middle. So you're always able to go back and forth and find more information. So you can also it's easy to use this in the search box, and it's also in Spanish. That's the only other language that is available, and is in Spanish. Then you have Occupation Finder, you have the glossary, and facts and questions that you can use. And then up here at the top, at the tabs, the data tools that I was mentioning earlier, if you're interested in data, they have information here about maps, calculators, all kinds of cool stuff. Publications, I've loved the publications. The Career Outlook is one of my favorites. Like when I go on to Career Outlook, They have here, same thing what they do on the Outlook handbook page. We have a featured occupation. They always do a feature occupation on their Career Outlook section here. And they have great articles for archives. On Career Outlook, they have one that I found was about, will I need a license or a certification for my job? And it's a great article because it actually breaks down which types of occupations require a license or require a certification to work. This really helps out because describing to our students, giving them information about certification process, licensing process, how to maintain it, it all ties together to unemployment because people who need to have a license or who need to have a certification to work, they have a much lower unemployment rate than the rest of everyone else. We're talking 2.5% unemployment rate, and it's all derived because of that need to have a license or a certification to work. So I really enjoy these articles, especially from the publications from Career Outlook. And here they always have different types of data as well here at the bottom on the side. And then also the other website I wanted to show too is, let me go ahead and pull that one up as well. I want to show the one for Motivated Skills Test and Career Values Test, and then also the O-Net briefly. So this is the Stuart Cooper and Kuhn website for Motivated Skills Test, and they also have here the questions down below for Career Values Test. And then you just click on the link and you'll be able to launch it. Oops, sorry. They have some information there too. They must have moved the page recently. I do apologize.
Christina, is this free? Is this assessment free on that website? And does it provide a printout?
It should provide a free information, and a printout. I didn't see a printout before, but it is free. Then here I'm going to go to the O-Net site because that does provide you to have it free and print out as well. This one has it on this link is going to be looking at a skills search. So they've broken it down, the skills. I find this really helpful in our contextualizing the lessons, whether you're contextualizing lessons for an IET or if you're contextualizing lessons for your other classes, your ESL, your ABE, and ASE classes. So they've broken down the skills. So you have basic skills, complex problem solving skills, resource management skills, social skills, system skills, technical skills. So you can see, I like this, how it breaks it down. So if you're looking at what those skills are and how to put them into a contextualized lesson, they're already grouped together. When you're going on to O-Net, the home page, you see down below My Next Move. It's also available in Spanish right here. So for those students wanting to do the assessment in Spanish, they can. And they also have My Next Move for your veterans as well, which is really cool because it helps for veterans to be able to see their military skills transitioning into civilian jobs. So this is very helpful for them. What I also like about this homepage, even though it's got a ton of information, you have here where it says you have crosswalks, and then you also have find occupations and advanced search. I go into crosswalks a lot because I'm always interested to see how an O-Net code and a SIP code, SOC code and SIP code work together. So I can look at them up here under crosswalks. And this is how it works. So you have here, this is the SIP code, and you have the SOC codes down below. This is really quick. So if you're in the need of trying to figure out the match between a SIP code and a SOC code, very quick. You go onto the crosswalk section and you select education, and you'll be able to find it immediately, just about, as you just saw. Any other questions? We should be wrapping up here in a few more minutes, so are there any other questions or anything you'd like to see? But just as a reminder for your career development curriculum from TWC, they have activities in here and worksheets that's also available. So you'll be able to go in and find those worksheets, especially wanting some activities that you're wanting to implement and it's easy to use. You see they have career portals, course syllabus. They have all kinds of great information here that you could use. But keep in mind that they did create this back in 2013 and then published it in 2014. I always try to stress that because they may have had some changes. Like I just noticed one was Texas Cares. You have Texas Career Check now as a website for all your resources too for the new website that you could use. So just keep that in mind, that 2014 date. But you do have some really other additional information that's really great, that's still very useful. Also, I look at it this way, it helps find activities and lessons easier, and it's all aligned to career development.
Christina, is it the Bureau of Labor Statistics that has information on the 16 career clusters?
They do have the information also on the Bureau of Labor Statistics actually have information about industries, the super sectors, and how those super sectors are broken down into subsectors. The website you're probably thinking of is one that I use a lot is from, and I'll show it to you right now, is, let's see here, whoops, over here. Here we go. Advanced CTE. I use this website a lot because it's career technical education. It is a lot of your, from a nationwide perspective, a lot of your high schools are using these resources from this website. And there's also another website. It used to be called Achieve Texas, but now they switched their name of their website. And that one, see if I can show it to you real quick, also is called Texas CTE. Here we go. I like looking at career technical information a lot because they go in such detail about career clusters and career pathways. So they have that information available along with the curriculum and lesson plans already completed. So I go between Advanced CTE a lot and to Texas CTE, those two websites. For Advanced CTE, what I'm showing is that they have here all of your career clusters, as you can see with the drop-down menu. They have career cluster resources, credentials. They actually list the credentials with those clusters. They have the crosswalks. They have the standards. So you have the career cluster standards, Common Core, and then they have the programs of study and career readiness. I really love the materials available on this particular page. The other one, too, that I've looked at as well is from actually Minnesota State. They give you information about what type of industries matches to, here it is, CareerWise. It used to be called iSeek.org. I used to always kept remembering it iSeek, but it's actually called, now they changed it to CareerWise. This website has it to where you can actually look at the career clusters matching to industries, which is really helpful for me when I'm looking at surveys. See how here it has, let me go back just to make sure I show that. On the CareerWise website, you see down below where it says investigate career pathways. Click on that, and it's broken down with the career clusters. And you just click a cluster, click whatever you want, and then they give you this information here about it. And you can click on this little map, and it tells you which positions and how long it takes to move through the process for this particular career pathway. And they have information down below for adult learners, ex-offenders, immigrants. They have a lot of helpful information down below. So I go back between these three, but the other two, Advanced CTE, has some great crosswalks. If you're ever wanting to have some time to take a look at that, I recommend these career cluster information. Here are the crosswalks. The crosswalks really help when you're trying to make an alignment between SIP code, SOC code. And they also have the alignment to career cluster and career pathway all in one. So you just click on which one that you're looking for, and it tells you here. I use the table 6. And it opens up as a Excel spreadsheet. And as you can see here, it's all broken down. You have career cluster, career pathway, the SIP code, the BLS, which is the actual code, is the SOC code right here. And then you have your the ETA, which is the ONET classification code. So they considered all kinds of codes, but pretty much the BLS code and the ETA one is the same. You see it's 11-9011 for that first one that you see. And then down below you can manipulate how you want this information to be sorted, how you want it to look. But I like it because it gives me everything I need to know about an occupation, career cluster, career pathway, and the occupation that it's aligned to, and the education program, all on one spreadsheet. There's also a really great spreadsheet out there as well from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that aligns international occupations to U.S. occupations. And I don't know if we have time. It looks like we've run out of time.
Yes, we have. But if you'd like, you could put this information or the links to these in the community of practice for the career pathways. So that's a great, these are all such wonderful resources. And I know that Christina can go on because she's got so much information to share. And we'll have Christina come back. But I want to thank you, Christina, for your presentation. And does anybody have any questions as we sign off? The PowerPoint will be available in the community of practice. It takes a little bit of time because we have to send it through for, they make it accessible. So it will be available in the community of practice eventually. So yes, thank you. Well, once it's placed in there, you'll get a notification that something's been placed in the community of practice.